Hi, my name is Annabel, and this is my story. So, the biggest thing that I have found that Jesus has brought to my life is peace. And it is something that I never thought I would find within myself, within the world that I lived in my heart or in my head. Growing up, I went to a church school, and it was just something that I felt I had to do at the time. It was a part of my schooling, but not something I ever really connected to. I was quite a lonely child growing up. I lived in a household where there was quite a lot of emotional destruction, and there was a lot of upset and anger. And I was always taught to kind of put my emotions in a box and to never really acknowledge them or talk about them, which meant that I became quite isolated as a little girl. I struggled to make friends. I was always in groups of friends, but I never felt like I really belonged amongst those people. And it was a really sad time for me, as it was always something that I wanted, was to be amongst people and feel happy. But I would always shut myself away and I focused on my studies instead. When I left school, I was very lost. I didn't know which way to turn. I was very confused. And at that time, life became quite dark with my home life. So unfortunately, I turned to other ways of helping myself cope with my emotions that I had buried inside myself, and that was namely alcohol and drugs. So throughout the years after that, I became more and more discontent with myself. I never felt that I achieved anything that I was destined to achieve in life. None of my relationships were what I thought would be successful, because I was constantly blaming everybody around me and never really looking at myself or my part in things. So throughout that time, the alcohol and drugs got more and more, and my world became smaller and smaller, and myself as the problem became bigger and bigger. And I just kind of envisaged it like my world was a bubble around me, and I was the most important thing in that. Jesus, God, and any kind of faith, there was no space for that at the time in my heart or in my head. Over time, I felt like the enemy was taking more of my soul away and was really ingrained inside me. And having that experience was very upsetting. It was very lonely. I couldn't talk to anyone about it because I didn't understand any of those feelings. I was constantly burying them, constantly trying to escape from them and run away. But by the time I had my child, I had promised myself that I would try and change my life, but everything was on my terms and the way that I was trying to change things. And I did not have the strength to do that. And by the age of 33, I ended up wondering whether the world would be a better place without me. My family would always tell me to consider my daughter. And I just felt at that time that even she would be better off with someone that could just do life better. I always felt like I could never do life. And for me, that was something that made me feel like a failure. So in June of 2024, uh, Jesus came into my life. And I don't know how, and I don't know why, but at that time, I guess I had reached such a point of desperation that I was really willing to give my life and my heart and my will and my soul over and just beg somebody or something to help me. I knew by that point I couldn't do it on my own anymore, and this was really my last chance. So I got onto my knees, I opened my heart up and opened my head up and just said, if there is something out there, please help me. Please save me from the chaos and the destruction that I have created within myself and in the world around me. And my prayers were answered. I had an amazing group of people rally around me that showed me that life could be such a different place and that I was not misunderstood. I wasn't alone, and I certainly didn't have to feel anything negative about myself, because ultimately I was loved, and I was loved by God. So in that time when I started to feel like I was loved, I then learned to love myself again. And through having the support mechanisms around me, I decided I wanted more. I was excited for more. I wanted to feel more of this happiness and this excitement and relief that there was something else out there. So I Googled churches in Dunstable, and ComChurch came up. And in November of last year, I first visited ComChurch by myself. And I stood at the back and I was by myself and I didn't know what to expect. I just thought, why am I here? What is going on? But the amazing words that I heard in the songs sung by the worship team and spoken by the pastors on the stage. It was just the most incredible feeling that I had. I had tears the whole time I was here, and I just felt like I belonged. I felt like I was among my tribe of people, and I felt safe here. This is my safe place. Church has become my safe place, and it's a place that I can be my 100% authentic self and know that that is enough, because God loves me just the way I am. I now come to prayer com every week. I attend church every Sunday, and I've started to bring friends along that I have made in my adult life, who also have seen the way that my life has changed and see the happiness and the joy and the peace that I have now. And slowly I'm starting to build my church family, which I am so grateful for. And I couldn't have done any of that without the mercy and the grace of Jesus coming into my life, and from removing the enemy from inside me, taking away the darkness and showing me that there is a light, and it is 100% worth searching for and investing in, because my life today is a life that is beyond my wildest dreams. It is a tranquil, peaceful space, but I can only have that if I keep my communication open with God and turn things over to Him, speak to Him about how I'm feeling, and realize that I am just a grain of sand in this whole world. The world is not a bubble around me. The world is something that has been created that I am one very minute part of. And I'm grateful for every day that I wake up with air in my lungs and get to experience that life. So that is my testimony.